Hello, it's Theo here from JHT, and to commemorate reaching 100 videos on the channel, I've put together a collection of 100 gaming facts you might not know. Let us know in the comments how many of these you already knew, or if you have any unusual gaming trivia of your own to share. Super Mario 3D World marks the first Mario platformer where Rosalina is a playable character. Actor Christopher Lee was originally set to play the role of Zeus in God of War 2, but was replaced due to creative differences. PS3 trophy support was not added to Metal Gear Solid 4 until 4 years after it first launched. 2009's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 contains composer Hans Zimmer's first ever video game score. Clint Eastwood, Robert Redford, and Robert Duvall were all offered the role of John Marston in Red Dead Redemption. Pac Man Championship Edition was the final game that series creator Toru Iwatani designed. The surname of the protagonist in Grim Fandango means skull in Spanish. The title themes from Toy Story on the Mega Drive used the Commodore Amiga's MOD sound chip. The toy robot that Ellie gave to Sam in the original game can be seen in Ellie's room in The Last of Us Part 2. In the UK, Ratchet Clank 3 shipped with a demo disc of various PlayStation titles, including, bizarrely, Ratchet Clank 3. While walking through an arcade in Bioshock Infinite, Elizabeth comments on one of the games being delayed 3 times, a subtle nod to how Bioshock Infinite itself was delayed 3 times. The original PS2 release of Metal Gear Solid 3 includes a mode called Snake vs. Monkey, where Naked Snake must hunt down and capture the loose simians from Ape Escape. Many of the cutscenes from the PS2 Futurama game were later edited together to form an episode of the show titled The Lost Adventure, which appeared as a DVD extra on the release of the Futurama film The Beast with a Billion Backs. Devil May Cry for the PS2 has worldwide sales of over 2.2 million copies. Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin wrote the lore for Elden Ring. Joel's last name is never mentioned in The Last of Us, although the Japanese game manual revealed it to be Miller. The missions No Escape and Copland in GTA Vice City share their names with 2 movies starring Tommy Vercetti's voice actor Ray Liotta. Neversoft, the original developers of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, released a game in 1998 starring Bruce Willis called Apocalypse. During production of the seminal skateboarding title, the first character to ride a skateboard wasn't a pro skater at all, and in fact it was a computer model of Bruce Willis from Apocalypse. The script for Metal Gear Solid 2 is over 800 pages long. Robin Williams was a longtime fan of the Legend of Zelda series and even named his daughter after the Princess of Hyrule. Tekken 8's Victor is voiced by actor Vincent Cassel, who himself enjoys playing as Eddie Gordo due to his capoeira-based fighting style, which Cassel also practices. Super Mario Odyssey is the first game in the series where Mario doesn't lose lives when he dies, instead dropping 10 coins whenever he perishes. The back of Nathan Drake's gun holster reads NDI, which stands for Naughty Dog Incorporated, the developer of the series. The voice of the Circus of Value vending machines in Bioshock is that of the game's director, Ken Levine. Shooting the moon with a sniper rifle in GTA 3 Vice City and San Andreas causes it to change size. In Jackie Chan Stuntmaster, you can see movie posters for real-life Jackie Chan films, Project A Part 2 and Police Story 2 in the restaurant at the start of the game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge marks the first time that Master Splinter, April O'Neil and Casey Jones have been playable in a Ninja Turtles beat-em-up. The flowers the nurse tends to at the start of Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain, are a type of lily called the Star of Bethlehem, and a field of the same lilies can be found at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3. Sly Cooper and the Phoebius Raccoonus released on the same day as Star Fox Adventures in 2002, which also features a cast of anthropomorphic animals. Before settling on the world's most famous hedgehog, Sega considered a range of different characters and animals, including kangaroos, squirrels, rabbits, and a mustache man who would eventually become Sonic's nemesis, Dr. Robotnik. The new U stations in Borderlands 3 can sometimes be heard to reference Skyrim, with the station saying, "Hey, you're awake. You were trying to cross the border, right?" which mirrors the opening lines of dialogue in Bethesda's Epic. While voiced by Ashley Birch, Aloy's likeness in the Horizon series is that of Dutch actress Hannah Hoekstra. In Night in the Woods, the character of Laurie Myers is named after the NoFX song of the same name. The American cover for Zombies Ate My Neighbors features a photo of zombies from the 1968 movie Night of the Living Dead. Rockstar Games hired real-life gang members to voice background characters in Grand Theft Auto 5. Batman Arkham City's inmates can occasionally be heard to discuss the events of the TV show Lost. In 2016, Capcom confirmed the names of the 2 fighters in the intro to Street Fighter II to be Scott and Max. Hideo Kojima used LEGO to help plan the stages of the original Metal Gear Solid. Doom's working title was Attack of the Attackers. Sony's Shuhei Yoshida regularly emailed Bloodborne's developers at From Software for tips when he became stuck during his playthrough of the 2015 masterpiece. Playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on the 14th of February can cause a Happy Birthday Lara Croft message to display on the game's loading screens as it's Lara's official date of birth. LittleBigPlanet was originally titled Craft World, and its main character was Yellowhead. Worms developer Andy Davidson originally created the game for a competition in a software development magazine. Tetris' famous Type A tune is based on a 19th century Russian folk song called Korobaniki. GTA San Andreas is the best-selling PS2 game of all time, selling over 17 million copies since its release in October 2004. Thank Goodness You're Here features voice work from comedy legend Matt Berry as the gardener Herbert. The bushes and clouds in Super Mario Bros. Use the same asset, just painted a different colour.
They're the same picture.
Devil May Cry began life as a sequel to Resident Evil 3 before becoming its own series. The beta version of the original Legend of Zelda gave players a choice between a sword and a boomerang at the beginning of the game. In Fallout 4, the robotic butler Codsworth is capable of reciting over 900 different names, but Theo isn't one of them. The original Kingdom Hearts was the final game released by Squaresoft before the company merged with Enix to form Square Enix. Kingdom Hearts 2 marks the first time that Yen Sid, Mickey's mentor, speaks, having remained silent since his debut in the 1940 film Fantasia. Sonic never directly fights Robotnik in Sonic Frontiers, and the last game that spared the two fighting each other was 2003's Sonic Heroes. Merchandising rights for Cuphead belonged to a company called King Features Syndicate, who also published Popeye comics in the 1930s, the era of animation that Cuphead pays homage to. Final Fantasy X is the first game in the series to feature voice acting. The script for Hades is over 300,000 words long. In Stardew Valley, local carpenter Robin was originally planned to be a romantic option for players before the idea was scrapped. Untitled, Goose Game's title was quickly established by developers after the game was accepted to be shown at the Fantastic Fest in Texas ahead of launch. An alternative title, Some Like It Honk, was considered but not picked. In Star Wars Battlefront, the loading screen of Yavin 4 features a satellite image of Sao Paulo. Final Fantasy VII Remake is the first game in the series where the level cap isn't 99 or 100, with the max level players can reach being capped at 50. Sonic Forces was the second third-party game announced for the Nintendo Switch. Castlevania Symphony of the Night marks the first time in the series that Alucard is a playable character. In the opening cinematic of Crash 4, there are 22 tally marks scrawled on the wall of the prison where Neo, Cortex and N-Trophy are being imprisoned, referencing the 22 years between the launch of Crash 3 and Crash 4. During the development of the original Crash Bandicoot, the game was codenamed the Sonic's Ass Game, because the camera always points to Crash's derriere. In What Remains of Edith Finch, if you look down towards Edith's feet during the game, you'll notice that she's pregnant and carries a diamond ring on a necklace, suggesting she is also loved and lost. All the clocks inside reflect the real-world time. The cover art for Far Cry 5 is a tribute to Leonardo da Vinci's painting The Last Supper.
They're the same picture.
In the Simpsons Hit and Run, players can unlock an itchy and scratchy film called the 500-Yard Gash by finding all of the collector cards throughout the game. A Nintendo 3DS version of Rayman Legacy was in development alongside the Wii U version, but was cancelled for unknown reasons. Ape Escape was the first PlayStation game that actually required the DualShock analog controller. The left stick moved protagonist Spike, while the right stick performs actions with the game's gadgets. In the graphic novels, movie, and the game, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World frequently references Nintendo games. However, the game originally launched on just the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and not a Nintendo console. Assassin's Creed protagonist Ezio Auditore de Firenze's name loosely translates to like an eagle, auditor of Firenze, referencing both Ezio's family profession and banking and his birthplace of Florence. The 2020 remake of Demon's Souls features a new shortcut that didn't appear in the original release and one that makes logical sense in the Bolitarian Palace. 2018's Marvel Spider-Man made more money in its opening weekend than 2017 movie Spider-Man Homecoming. While the genre was not entirely new, the original Resident Evil was the first game to coin the term survival horror. Several DLC chapters for Heavy Rain were planned, but only one, Chronicle 1, The Taxidermist, was ever released. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is the first Mario platformer where players can take on the role of Toadette. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the first mainline Mario game not to feature Charles Martinet as Mario's voice actor. In the Scarecrow interview tapes in Batman Arkham Asylum, players will hear mentions of Dr. Murphy and Dr. Coombs, referencing Cillian Murphy and Jeffrey Combs, who played the Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy and in the new Batman Adventures respectively. Fez director Phil Fish drew inspiration for the films of Hayao Miyazaki when designing the worlds of Fez. Naughty Dog wanted actor and comedian Chris Rock to voice Daxter in the Jak and Daxter series, but he refused the offer. Hotline Miami is inspired by the documentary Cocaine Cowboy and the film Drive. Henry from Firewatch is modelled after comedian Louis C.K. The E3 2012 trailer for South Park The Stick of Truth included footage of Mr. Garrison dying, vampire kids and crab people as enemies, and a giant version of Clyde, none of which appear in the final game. Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes was originally intended to be a PS3 and PSP game, but the PSP version was eventually cancelled and the game released on PS3 and Xbox 360 in addition to PS4, Xbox One and PC. SSX Tricky started life as an updated version of its predecessor called SSX Special Edition, before the game's scope and new content warranted a new entry in the series. A sequel to the Simpsons game was planned but was eventually cancelled by EA in 2011 in favour of other projects. The musical score for Killzone 2 was recorded at Abbey Road Studios. The cars seen throughout Fallout 3 are based on the nuclear-powered concept car, the Ford Nucleon. The MP3 ringtones that Nico Bellic can purchase in GTA 4 are all tracks that appeared on the GTA Liberty City Story soundtrack. Resistance Fall of Man featured a level set in and around Manchester Cathedral, which subsequently led to the Church of England threatening Sony with legal action unless Sony apologised and removed the game from sale. Sony did neither, and Resistance saw a boost in sales from the controversy. Pirated copies of Mirror's Edge reduced his face running speed ahead of key jumps, making them impossible to clear. Croc, Legend of the Gobbos started life as a 3D Yoshi platforming game, but Nintendo turned down the idea, and thus Croc was born. Sonic Tails and many other Sega characters appear in the TV advert for Crazy Taxi on the Dreamcast. The character animation in the Aladdin game for the Mega Drive was done by the same animators who worked on the movie. Director John Woo makes a cameo appearance in Stranglehold as a bartender, reprising his role from the Hard-Boiled movie. At one point, the official Spotify, Apple Music and YouTube releases of the song Boneyard from the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy soundtrack unintentionally opened with an advert for an insurance company. Tekken director Katsuhiro Yahara approached the Japanese offices of KFC to ask permission to include Colonel Sanders as a guest fighter, but was apparently given a bad look, and the proposal was denied. Tomb Raider 2 introduced the world to Lara's butler, Winston Smith, and his various grunts and moans were provided by the game's composer, Nathan McCree. Sonic's original backstory reportedly included him being the leader of a rock band and having a human girlfriend called Madonna. And that's it! If you've enjoyed this video of 100 gaming facts, then please give the video a like below and be sure to hit subscribe to be notified of more great content from JHT. Thank you for helping us to reach 100 videos. I've been Theo from JHT, and thank you for watching.